ฝ่ายนะคะก็นอกจากวิทยากรของเราคือคุณโอวีแคโรลแล้วนะคะก็ยังมีท่านวิทยากรเพิ่มอีกท่านหนึ่งนะคะซึ่งท่านจะเป็นผู้สรุปความเพิ่มเติมนะคะซึ่งก็บางท่านก็คงจะรู้จักท่านดีอยู่แล้วนะคะก็ไม่ขอจะขออนุญาตที่จะไม่แนะนำท่านมากนะคะปัจจุบันค่ะขอเชิญท่านอาจารย์พรเพชรค่ะ
ครับสวัสดีครับ ในภาคบ่ายนี้ก็คงจะเริ่มเร็วเลยนะครับแล้วก็คาดว่าจะเสร็จก่อนบ่าย3 โมงนะครับเพราะว่าคุณโนวีนี่ก็มากว่า30 ชั่วโมงมาถึงเมื่อกว่าจะได้นอนก็ตี 2นะครับ6 โมงเช้าก็ตื่นแล้วนะครับนั้นก็เราก็ต่อเลยนะครับWill you please Yes.
Okay. You're okay? Okay. Very good. Is it working?
ได้ยินไหมครับ
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can she hear me? About proxy servers. And I just wanted to show you, there's a website. Is everybody getting the translation now? We're good? Excellent. There's a website called ipchicken.com. Very simple website. And what this shows you is this is actually showing you the website that I'm coming from. And this is the IP address right here that we're at, all right? And you can see that my browser signature, remember the browser signature that we were talking about earlier? Here's my browser signature. It says that I'm a Mozilla 5.0 on a Macintosh, so I'm using a Macintosh computer with an Intel Mac, and this is the exact version of the operating system, 10.6.4, and you can see that my operating system right now is set to display everything in US English. Now this is important because imagine if you were investigating a terrorist and maybe they spoke another language and you wanted to go visit their website, you need to know that they can tell what language setting your computer is at. So perhaps if you wanted to visit an Arabic website and make them think that you were someone that was an Arabic speaker, you would have to change the settings on your computer so that your computer showed Arabic language. Otherwise, they could tell that you were coming from a computer that was set to show Thailand, right? And in this case, US. This is just additional software installed on my computer, the Apple WebKit. And it tells you that I'm using Safari web browser version 5.533.18.5. So that's a lot of information, and that's a signature that is very specific to my computer right now. Another thing is this IP address. Every computer that is connected to the internet has an IP address. And if I went to, there's another. If I went to another website, this one is called Domain Tools, and I typed in that IP address that we were just at, and I did a search, what it would come up with is, you can see, thank you so much, you would see right here that this shows that that IP address is coming back to Thailand so that they know I'm actually coming from Thailand, and that IP address, if I look down here, is further registered. This is the exact location where this IP address information is registered. Who owns this, right? Ethnic, right here. So this tells them what IP address I'm using. Now, there are some websites out there that you can go to that will help you as a proxy server to hide your IP address. Remember I went to this IP address, ipchicken.com. That's the IP address that this computer is connected to the internet with. Now, one of the websites that hackers will use is a website called hidemyass.com. Now, when I try to go to it, it's blocked, correct? So, one of the things that you can do, one of the things I will do is what I'm doing right now is, remember that IP address that we were just at? Now I'm going to go back to IP Chicken. Now this IP address is actually out of Washington, D.C., Fios Verizon. So what I just did using VPN technology is I am right now connected to the internet here at the hotel through the wireless. I'm encrypting all my traffic and sending it to my home server at my house, and then connecting. So now it's all encrypted. If somebody was trying to watch what I was doing, they couldn't see anything. And then everything that I'm doing looks like it's coming out of Washington, D.C. So now if I go back to hidemyass.com, which, oops, wait a minute. See if we can get there now. There we go. Okay. So now I try to go back to that same website that was blocked, and this is the website. And here, if I again want to try to hide my traffic, one of the things that I can do is I can come over here where it says IP ports and proxies, which is right up here in the middle. And then this is a list of all the websites that have open proxy servers that's free for anybody to use to hide all their activity. And if I wanted to look like I was coming from a particular country, I could filter. For instance, if I wanted to look like I was coming from Thailand, I could filter all the countries and just look as if I was coming from Thailand. So here is a list of all the proxy servers in Thailand right now that people can use from other countries to go and log on to one of these computers, these IP addresses, and then surf the internet. Or if I didn't want it to look like I was coming from Thailand, maybe I wanted to come from Russia, I could switch here, and now this should show you all the Russian web servers. And then all you have to do is connect to this IP address and this port when you're surfing the internet, and it would actually change where you're coming from. As a matter of fact, if we go back to the front page to the web proxy, and let's say I just want to surf over to another web page, so let's see if we can do this here. ipchicken.com. Okay, so now, this is the third IP address you've seen. This IP address here says, let's grab that IP address and let's find out where in the world that IP address is. We type this into domaintools.com, and domaintools.com is free for anybody to use. This is showing that this IP address is out of, looks like Chicago. Okay, so now, anywhere that I'm visiting, IP Chicken thinks that I'm coming from a computer in Chicago. But you'll notice that even though I changed my IP address 3 times, once coming from Thailand, once coming from Washington, D.C., and once coming from Chicago, my browser signature is still exactly the same. So this is some of the ways that you can investigate these websites by looking at browser signature. Other things is if you know the website that they're going to and you're trying to go backwards, if you can force a secure socket layer, an SSL connection, then a lot of times you can get the exact IP address. So that's, I just wanted to, I told you that I would show you that. So let's close this. Oh, I wanted to show you one other thing. Google. Remember I told you about Google is tracking everywhere that you, all the web searches that you do? Just to show you, if I come over here to my Google account settings, and I come down here to web history, this is all my Google searches that I was doing, and you can see exactly what I was Googling. I searched for the word increase 18% because I was looking for a graphic to show that the world's internet population had increased by 18%, but I didn't find a good graphic. And then you can see I was searching for pictures of Thailand to put into my PowerPoint presentations, and you can see exactly the pictures. I did a Google search for how many emails were sent worldwide in 2009. And do you remember seeing that information today? That's the website that I got it off of. Right? Very interesting information. As a matter of fact, they're keeping trends. If we look, we can go to the oldest, and you can see each one of these websites that I searched for, or Google searches that I did. We can even go back to the very oldest search that I've done. And this is not just on this computer. This is on any computer that I'm logged into. And you can see here, this is a Google, these are Google searches that I did January 25th, 2007. That it's got what my Google searches were and which links I clicked on. Now this is one way that Google is tracking it, and that's by my Gmail address. But they're also tracking it by your IP address. So imagine if you had, let's say you were investigating a terrorist situation where you knew where a terrorist lived, or you knew that he had internet access at this house that he was renting. You could, with proper legal authority, you could subpoena information about all the Google searches that were conducted from that person's house, that IP address that belongs to that house. How valuable is that information? Because again, people aren't thinking that this is being recorded, but it is. So I just wanted to share that with you. Pretty interesting information that they have Google searches that I've done all the way back to 2007, January of 2007. One other thing that I said that I was going to do is I was going to ask for a volunteer. Could I have a volunteer that is not a computer person? Somebody maybe that doesn't really like computers very much. Is there anybody that would volunteer for me to come up and let me show you how to do something so that everybody can see? Anybody?
เชิญเลยครับเชิญท่านเปรมรัตน์ก็แล้วกันอยู่หรือเปล่า
Nobody. Would you like to do it?
No, I will ask somebody.
Okay.
ท่านดนท่านเปรมรัตน์อยู่เปล่าครับ
Okay, come
ท่า
on
นดน
up. What I just want is I don't want somebody that everybody knows, oh, this person has a lot of technology experience.
มีอาสาสมัครแล้วครับเชิญครับ
And what I'll get you to do is sit down here at the computer.
ท่านชื่ออะไรครับบอกนิดนึง
All right, and we are currently
นั่นลงเดชนะครับ
we are currently using Windows XP, and you can see this is Windows XP right here that we're on, right?
Yes.
All right. So this program that we currently have sitting in front of you is called FTK Imager. Now you've never seen this before?
No.
No. Very good. All right, what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to click on that icon right there. All right? And what you're going to do is he's never touched this before, but he's going to image RAM on this running computer. So he's just clicked capture memory. Now what he's going to do is he's going to browse to the desktop, and we're just going to save this memory of RAM on the desktop. And now